Cancel.
Schweezy.
Time for a movie review, folks. This week I have a movie that is different from my usuals, but we're doing it today. So I'm going to review the 2005 movie starring Will Smith called Hitch. So, but first thing I wanted to talk about. So the reason why I chose this movie to watch, one of two reasons. So one reason I did choose this movie is actual dating. I guess I was on some. If you've heard of the infographics channel, I'll turn that on to fall asleep to. And I guess one of them was about like dating or whatever. And then they like brought up the movie Hitch, and they're like, actually, a lot of the dating advice he gives in the movie actually is really good advice. So I was like, huh. So I was like, okay, well, let me watch it. So don't think I'm weird. It helps me fall asleep. Okay, folks, I have anxiety, so it's hard for me to fall asleep. So okay. Just let me live my fucking life. Just making sure my hair looks good for all y'all. Just the ladies, not the guys. FYI. The other decision is, so when I lived in Kansas, town of 1,000 people, we went to another town, which was like 4,000 people or something like that. And we went to a 2-screen movie theater. I guess my parents wanted to go see a movie. And so in one of the theaters, so it was a 2-screen movie theater. So there's only like 2 theaters in the whole thing. Super small town. Remember that. One theater had Hitch. The other theater is what the movie me and my brother saw. Now, we don't remember what the movie we saw. I've done a lot of research on this. I looked back at February 2005, movies that would have been in theaters that we would have possibly saw when Hitch was in theaters. So the 4 I narrowed it down to was Pooh's Heffalump Adventure, The Pacifier, Robots, Scooby-Doo, Monsters Unleashed. Now, I do not think we saw Robots in theater. I know that. I don't think I saw the Heffalump movie either. I don't think the theater would have showed those random Scooby-Doo movies in theaters, so I'm not thinking it's that. I do remember we saw The Pacifier in theaters. It wasn't at that theater. It was at a real movie theater in another town. The city I lived in did not have a movie theater. So The Pacifier is my top one, but it's not confirmed. However, so we can confirm this. However, the only way I think I would be able to confirm this idea is if I found a newspaper from this time, which I could not find online, FYI. If I can get a newspaper from the time, so maybe a library might have it. I'm not for certain. They would have this article. I could find like the movie times from around this time and see what movies was in theaters, and that way we can narrow it down. However, sounds like that would bother someone for my stupid thoughts. So we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna assume it may be one of those movies. I am not for certain. So anyways, that's the reason why I decided to review this movie. So let's get into it, folks. You know what is going on.
I really like that.
So okay, so we get this introduction. The movie starts with this introduction to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, telling us like this whole thing, like all women wake up wanting to be swept off their feet, and if they say they don't, they're fucking lying. And that sounds right to me. And then he also tells like this story about how he's kind of given up on women. Well, what did I write down? He's also saying to give women space and not be right up on them. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good advice. That's probably just personal space right there. So then we meet Sarah. Sarah is a busybody journalist who is so over men. And I already know where this trope is going. She ends up consulting her single friend at the same bar Will Smith is at, and shit like that. Single friend at a bar is like, oh, no good men are out there. I'm like, oh, there's a man out there for you, shit like that or whatever. Continues, and Will actually does this really smooth waitress trick. Actually, I kind of like this idea. I'm not gonna try it, but I thought it was funny, and it possibly could work. So there was like a woman. She was surrounded by like 3 or 4 guys. And so Will comes up to her like with cash, and he's like, hey, can you get me this drink? Thanks. And then he walks away, and then she leaves that group of guys like, hey, I'm not a waitress. And he's like, I know. I just wanted to figure out a way to talk to you and shit like that. And blah, blah, blah. That's how that went. And so, then we get, and so that's basically the start of the movie. Then we get into this origin story of how his life. And so he fell in love with a girl in college, and I guess he went on way too strong and fell in love way too fast. She ended up cheating on her. And now he is a dating expert to help people who don't have any game. That's this
is the type of guy you get.
So we all know who we're getting in this film. That's Will. And so now he helps people to make up for his broken self, which we're all doing something to make up for how broken we are on the inside. He's just in a movie about it. So then we get to Kevin James. Who is single for some reason. Kevin James is single in this movie for some reason, and is desperate to get with this girl named Allegra. Now, Allegra is like this rich girl who's like philanthropy and all this shit like that, and he's in love with her, and paparazzi is always after Allegra, and it's a whole big thing, and which is good because her name is Allegra, and she's actually a really nice and great person, which is terrific because her parents are assholes because they named her Allegra after like allergy medication or whatever Allegra is. I don't know. Then so he's in love with her in like way out of Kevin James's league. So like Kevin James is like a financial advisor, and that's like he's like one junior accountant with her and shit like that. So like, you know, Will Smith is telling him to like, you know, here's what you should do, be cool and shit like that. And then they're in the meeting, and then he stands up for himself. He's like, you know what? If you want to invest your money, you should do it. And then he's like, you know what? I quit. And then he quits his job. But Allegra is impressed because no one's ever talked to her like that before. And that gets her all wet inside. And so then they schedule more shit together because he's bold and now she likes him. And I actually kind of like Allegra at that point because I actually do like very bold women. And so I am actually rooting for them to get together. The fat guy, Kevin James, and an actual supermodel. Who I don't think she's a supermodel, but her name is Allegra. So let's keep that into it. So now we go back to another bar where we see Sarah again. And some creepy dude's hitting on her, but then Will Smith comes in to save the day. The Fresh Prince comes in to save the day, and then he's reading her body language. He's like, "You have the whole men, please don't talk to me" vibe going on. He gets that vibe and leaves, and I guess he knows where she works, but he doesn't get her number. So and then. So he never got her number. So the next day she's at her office and he sends a guy up with a package for her and a walkie-talkie to confirm going on a date together, which, that is a lot of pressure. I know, like, it sounds like he's pressuring her into a date, which, I don't know where the ethics is. I know if you shouldn't pressure women into having sex with you, cause that's wrong. Especially if it's a firm no, not like the I need some foreplay no. You kind of touch it. You know what I'm talking about, folks. And so eventually he gets her to go on a date with her. So, you know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air takes her on a very nice casual date of jet skiing. Yes, you've heard that right, folks. Jet skis. So they're jet skiing around, having fun. Then his jet ski dies and he has to get on hers. And then he just drop kicks her into the water and she almost dies. But don't worry, it's a romantic comedy. She survives. And then they go to Ellis Island. Yeah, on there. He's like, hey, there's your ancestor. And then you find out her great-grandfather, the one whose signature they found, was a serial killer. And that's some weird shit to put in a movie. And that conversation ends there. So back to Kevin James. This is where we want to go. Back to Kevin James' bullshit. We get a montage of events of him like wooing Allegra. And it actually works. So Allegra is actually falling for Kevin James, which I hope this is a real life thing. And all the shit he's doing actually works, and it's funny. Kevin James is just like, I don't need dance lessons, I'll be fine. And Will Smith's like, show me your dance move. And he's like, don't do any of that shit. He does it anyways, and we'll find out later that's a good thing. So then, now in this film, I realized, okay, we're going back and forth between a lot of different stories. And it made me realize this is why this movie is 2 hours long. You know, that's way too long for a romantic comedy, folks. I don't know what we're getting into here, but that's way too long for a romantic comedy. All right? Well, yeah, they were at like a Knicks game, and I guess the paparazzi caught them. The paparazzi being Sarah, which, I'm thinking about her artistic integrity. Now, I judge a lot of journalists on this show, mainly the ones at Page Six, and I think Sarah is working for Page Six. I'm going to be honest, folks. I think Sarah is working for Page Six. So Sarah over at Page Six is she thinks there's something up with Will, because I guess Will Smith knows Kevin James in this, and they're trying to figure out how they got together in the first place. Everyone's wondering how Kevin James and Allegra got together. Maybe they just like each other, folks, or maybe he hired a professional dating consultant. One of the two. It's never both. So, I guess she tricks him into a double date with her boss, and they try to get some shit out of him, and I guess he doesn't do it because apparently Will Smith is weird for not name-dropping famous people, because everyone who does name-drop, most of the time, if they're name-dropping famous people, unless they're actually working with them, or they're trying to name-drop unimportant things, it means they're a loser. And I would know because I met Shania Twain one time, and I still bring it up. So, but that was a great moment in my life. So, we're doing that. But, then it turns out Will Smith's allergic to shellfish. And that's why I don't eat seafood, folks, because you could be allergic to it. And they kill it right in front of you, which I don't like. Because in my mind, I could have already given it a name. Or at least thought it might have had a name. I don't know. So then Sarah apparently is they got the hint on a dating expert that they're looking for good old Kevin James, because they don't think Kevin James could get Allegra on his own for some frickin' reason. She goes to the one guy earlier in the film that I did not bring up because I didn't know it was going to be important for me to write down. The one guy who wanted to use Will Smith to help him get sex with someone, and he's like, I don't do that. I do dating and love. That's the
This is the type of guy you get.
So he does that, and so that's her one source. And so he gives her his source he got it from, and yada yada yada. So they try to catch it up. Back to Kevin James. I guess they ended a good date together, and which is supposed to be the time for their first kiss. And he almost chickens out, but then he tosses his inhaler, and then goes up and kisses her, which she found romantic, which we'll find out later. But also, he doesn't go back for the inhaler. That's another thing. Don't you need the inhaler for your asthma? Shouldn't be throwing away your inhaler like that. You should at least go. I mean, I understand the gesture in the moment you toss the inhaler to go up and kiss her. But you need the inhaler. You're going to need the inhaler at some point. So you better go get that. You still have asthma. That didn't go away. Okay? You still need to pick up your asthma. Okay? And so they do a whole thing to try to catch this matchmaker dating guru guy. And so they take the one gay guy from the office. It's I need help. I need help with women, y'all. Oh, happy Pride Month, by the way. But it's I need help with dating. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this girl. I need this girl. And so they find out it's Will Smith is a magical dating guru, and Sarah is upset about that. Because apparently he lied about his career, even though he did say it was consulting, just not what kind of consulting. And so they end up doing this date they planned at their home, and she's just obnoxious and throwing shit. I'm like, okay, just leave at this point. But her one source was she thought he was a pickup artist, not an actual dating guy who helps people dating. Because there's the difference, because Will is ethically okay in what he does, and then pickup artists are kind of sleazy, and the pickup artists are for just getting some quick sex. So because she was upset, and so then later on Sarah goes to a speed dating thing to be emotional support for her friend that we saw earlier in the movie, and then he said he's talking about shit, and he talks about everything, confesses everything, what's going on, and then she realizes the source was the one guy he worked with who wanted him help him get sex, and was not happy about that. That's that's what happened there. And he's like, you used that guy? Like, all he wanted was sex, and I told him no. And then, but Kevin James is a great guy, and you fucking ruined. Oh yeah, and then the news found out, and then Allegra broke up with Kevin James, and so it's like, I can't believe you did that. And then so things didn't work out from there. But then the next day, Kevin James was like, yeah, tell me to get Allegra back, and then shit happened. Then he goes meets Allegra on a boat, and he's like, look, he actually really does like you. I just try to help him date. He's just a nervous nerd. And then she like says all the things that made her fall in love with him. Like, so you told him to spill mustard on his shirt and to dance stupid and to toss the inhaler and shit like that. And he's like, no, not at all. I told him to not do that at all. And she's like, oh. And it's like, so you didn't do anything. It's like, hey, he helped you at least set everything up. He's like, I only help with opportunities. I don't do the whole sex thing. And then they get together happily ever after. And then Will eventually goes to Sarah. Oh, and then like he goes there, and then he goes to her place to be like, I love you, Sarah. And then there's another dude there. And then like he goes on a chase and weird thing and gets hit by a car. Perfectly fine after getting hit by the car, though. And then you learned it was her sister's husband. So that was a weird twist that was not necessarily at all. But then they all live happily ever after. And the movie ends with Kevin and Allegra getting married. So that's the movie, folks. I summed it up in less than 20 minutes in a 2-hour movie in less than 20 minutes. So it was way too fucking long of a movie, folks. I don't think there were some scenes they could have cut out. So the age-old question for me is, what did I learn from this movie? Now, this movie was not an educational movie. Sorry to disappoint everyone out there. But what I can say is if you're Kevin James, you can get with any woman you want. You just have to have even a slight fraction of confidence. Kevin James is irresistible to all women, and something I need to learn and respect. Maybe I should start looking like Kevin James. The next lesson I've learned from this film, that if you're a dating guru, make sure you differentiate yourself from a pickup artist, because that would have solved a lot of problems near the end of the movie, folks. So make sure you, if that's your career, differentiate yourself from that. So that's what I learned. That's the movie Hitch. How do I rate this movie? Maybe a 6 out of 10. Will Smith is great. So, like, you can't hate Will Smith. So, give it a 6 out of 10. Mainly, I think I would have given it like a 7.5 if it wasn't so fucking long. So, that's my thoughts on Hitch. Hey, thank you for checking out that highlight from Cancel Schweezy. Now, I hope your brain cells don't hurt. We got more highlights available now everywhere. We also got more full episodes as well. If you want to watch a full episode of Cancel Schweezy, available now, right here, right now, available now. If you liked everything, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you get notified when new highlights and episodes come up. And leave a comment, like, and stay awesome.